Have you ever noticed that when you start projects, you have to contract in the planning process, put everything together before you can expand into something new? Well, it's that way in our yoga practice too. First, we have to draw in with a nice muscular engagement before we can expand out into that fullness. So often people tell me, oh, I want to do yoga, but I'm not flexible. Well, if you know how to engage your muscles, to really engage and draw in, you can expand out with great flexibility so much more fully. We'll begin standing at the top of the mat. As you come to stand at the top of the mat, stand tall. Now bend your knees so that you can contract the muscles of the legs. You can draw in so that you can expand out more fully. Keep the knees bent. As you keep the knees bent, just draw down toward the floor, maybe to the floor. If the floor seems too far from you, grab blocks so that you can press into the blocks with the knees bent. On the inhale breath, lift up and expand. On the exhale breath, soften down and see about coming towards straight legs. We'll do that 2 more times. Bend your knees, pull the feet in isometrically toward one another. You're contracting the muscles before you're expanding as you straighten your legs. 1 more time. Bend your knees, take your gaze forward, exhale, come towards straight legs. Now place your hands to your low back with knees bent, press down to rise up. Step your right leg back. As you step back, bend your right knee. It's a bit awkward, but it allows you to engage so much more fully. With the right knee slightly bent, and you might want to lift your heel up if it feels too hard to keep the right heel down. Draw your heart forward with the right knee bent. Bend your left knee. Keep the strong engagement on the back, and I know it feels awkward, but see if you can really pull in toward the midline of the mat, even with the right knee bent. Reach your arms up. In this interestingly strange lunge, your legs stay very engaged. Now release your hands, step your back foot forward, take your left foot back. And in the same way, bend your back knee. And your back heel can lift if you like. Bend your front knee. Pull in toward the midline of your mat so you've got a strong engagement. Keep the back knee bent, keep that engagement. Reach your arms up. I know it's an awkward lunge, but see if you can keep the engagement of the legs in this form of the lunge. Release your hands and step your back foot forward. One pose that I think this is especially valuable, the idea of contracting before expanding, is in downward facing dog. So come to downward facing dog. So as you come to downward facing dog, lift your heels up, bend your knees, so you're really getting this nice engagement of the muscles of the legs. Bend your elbows so the eyes of the elbows draw away from each other. So in this very awkward downward facing dog, you're totally engaged as you press the fingertip tops to the mat. Keep hugging the elbows in toward the midline and straighten the arms. As you keep the engagement of the legs, lift your sit bones up. Keep the engagement of the legs as you now come towards straight legs in your downward facing dog. Look forward, walk forward, find your way to the front of the mat and rise up. Inhale, take your arms up. Exhale, take your hands down. Step your right foot back. Bend your right knee. Balance yourself to come up. Have that awkward lunge that we were working on. Reach your arms up. Now, keeping a strong engagement of the back leg, come toward straightening the right leg. Release your hands down. Downward facing dog. Bend your knees again. Lift your heels high with the knees bent. Widen your elbows. Keep hugging the hands in toward the midline. Come now toward straight arms, but keep that engagement. Come toward straight legs, keeping that engagement. So you've got this nice tone in the muscles of the arms and the legs. Look forward. Walk your feet toward the front of the mat. Place your hands to the low back. Rise up. Reach up to the sky. Just get this nice opening in the upper chest. Release your hands down and step your left leg back. Bend your left knee. Keeping that with the right knee bent as well. Come to this awkward lunge here. Now, keep the engagement of the back leg as you come toward a straight back leg. Drop yourself a little bit deeper into the pose. Maybe you can take your gaze up, your hands back, and gaze back. Release your hands down. Step to downward facing dog. Lift your heels high. Bend your knees. Lift your sit bones. Bend your elbows. Hug in with the hands. Keep a strong engagement of both the legs and the arms as you come to refine your downward facing dog from that state of engagement. Can you keep that engagement as you get more length, as you straighten the arms, straighten the legs. Walk your feet up to your hands. Place your hands to your low back. Rise up. Come out of the pose. Now we'll go from the bent leg action to the straight leg, working on the front leg. So step your right foot back again. Keep that same action that we've been doing with the back leg. So bend the back knee. You might want to use your blocks in this because this could create a little bit of a balance issue. If using the blocks, take them right alongside your ankle, on either side of your ankle. With the back knee bent, with the front knee slightly bent, engage. Pull in toward the midline as you draw your heart forward and slightly down. Take your hands to your blocks. Keep your back leg strongly engaged. Start to straighten the front leg as you draw your heart down toward the extended front leg. You keep the back leg very engaged. Now root down through the back foot to inhale and lift yourself up to come out of the pose. We'll try it on the opposite side. Step your right foot forward. Step your left foot back. Bend your back knee. Engage fully. Hug in toward the midline of the mat. Start with a slightly bent front leg so that you can keep that engagement as you draw yourself down toward the mat. Keep the strong engagement. Hug into the midline. Now let's come toward the full pose of Parsvottanasa. As you come toward a straight front leg, you can start to come toward a straight back leg as you draw a little bit deeper into the forward fold. Step your back foot forward. Place your hands to the low back. Rise up. Let's try that on other straight leg poses. such as triangle pose. Step wide on your mat. Now if you like using the blocks, you can just put them to the outside of your ankles. Turn your right toes out. Bend your back leg just slightly. Bend your front leg just slightly. It's awkward, but it really, you start to feel the engagement of the muscles as you pull your feet in toward each other. Reach your arms out and take your hand down to the front leg or your block, whichever works for you. Take your lifted arm to your waist. So now let's just focus on the front leg. So we'll straighten the back leg. Bend your front leg even deeper. Bend your front leg so that you're in a slightly deeper stance. Now pull from the front heel to the back foot as you come toward a straight front leg. See if you can keep that. You're really pulling the front foot toward the back foot. Now reach your right arm up. You get this nice fullness in your pose. Root down through the back foot and rise up. Come to the opposite side. So right toes turn in, left toes turn out. Bend the back knee to get that engagement. Keep reminding yourself of this engagement, this pulling in action. Bend the front knee, pull in, get your feet to actively draw in toward each other. From here, reach your arms up. Take your hand down to the shin or the block or the floor for some of us. As you take the hand in place, can you come toward a straight leg in the back leg? Can you come toward a straight leg while still keeping that engagement on the front leg? Now expand in your pose. See how full and bright and expressive your pose can be. Now root down through the back foot. Take yourself out of the pose, lift up, release your hands. Now with feet parallel, hug your feet in toward each other. Bend your knees again. Hug in again. Really engage to get the inner thigh muscles active. Draw your inner thighs way back so you feel this fullness in the pelvic area. Take your fingertips down. Widen your hands so that they're just slightly wider than your shoulder width. In fingertip top position, bend your elbows, bend your knees. Draw your heart a little bit closer to the earth. Now, as you come toward straight legs, keep the inner thighs moving back and apart. Draw your elbows slightly forward to give you more length to the side body. As you come toward straight legs, see if now you can get the shoulder blades to reach forward with that elbow action reaching forward as well. So you get this nice length in your Prasarita Padottanasana. Bend your knees again. Pull in again. Pull your feet in toward each other. Place your hands to the low back. Rise up. Lift yourself up out of the pose. Now let's do the bent leg to straight leg action, that contraction to expansion action in a seated pose. Sit wide. And just like the pose we were just in, bend your knees. So in this wide stance, you're still pulling in the feet isometrically. The toes are spreading, and that helps to engage the muscle action all the way from the toes to the pelvis. Keeping the knees bent, draw your heart forward. Take your hands to your feet or to your shins and just see if you can come forward a little bit. Now come toward straight legs. And as you come forward, it doesn't feel like you can come forward that much for many of us. Bend your knees again, come forward, and notice how much space you have. So we'll be working with this, contracting the muscles of the legs first before expanding out. Let's do it one leg at a time. So you can straighten the left leg, but still keep that engagement. Turn toward the right leg. Take your left hand somewhere to the right leg, maybe to the right foot. Maybe if you've got a strap, you'll want to use that to take the strap around the foot. Hold on to the strap or the foot or the shin. Pull in from the heel, pressing in. You pull in toward the hip before expanding out. You keep that engagement as you lengthen and draw toward the foot. The leg doesn't have to come absolutely straight, but see if you can just feel how contracting the muscle helps you in the expansion and the twist. Rise up. Now let's keep this right leg straight as we take our attention to the left. So whether or not you're using the strap, as you turn toward the left leg, bend your left knee, take your right hand somewhere to the outside of the shin, pull in from the heel to the pelvis. Maybe you can take your hand to the foot. See if you can keep the back leg from popping up as you keep this engagement. You feel the hamstrings really engage nicely in their contraction. Now see if you can keep that engagement as you expand and you draw a little bit deeper in your forward fold. Now inhale and come out of the pose. We'll try again that action of bending the knees, drawing in. Take your hands wherever it feels comfortable for you. Some of you can grab your toes. As you first pull in, you get that engagement before expanding out, before reaching forward in your forward fold. Now inhale and rise up. Come to lie down and we'll apply the same principles in the supine position. You may want to grab your strap. As you bend your right knee and take the strap around your right foot. If you don't have a strap, you can just interlace your fingers behind the right thigh. Hold on to the strap. Keep your left leg straight. Bend your right knee as you spread your right toes to get this nice full engagement of the leg before straightening the leg. And you come to a similar pose that we were in standing. Both legs straight, but the action of bending the knee, again, come toward straight leg. You start to see that you can just get a little bit more fullness in your pose. When you first contract, we'll do that a third time by bending the knee. Press into the strap as you reach your heel up and slowly release your foot down. You can use a strap or not, as I said, so let's try that on the left side. Let's go through the actions without the strap if you'd like. As you hug your left leg in with your fingers interlaced behind your thigh, hug in, bend your knee first before reaching your left heel. heel and come toward a straight leg. Now maybe you can move your hands up just a little bit, maybe to the back of the leg or the back of the calf muscle, your choice. Bend your knees, a lot of hip flexion to begin with. Now come toward a straight leg as you reach your heel high. Now a third time, see if you can just go a little bit deeper, and whatever that is for you. The bottom leg can be straight if you wish, or you can anchor your right side with the knee bent, your choice. As you bend the knee, keep that engagement. Maybe you can come toward a straight left leg as you just enjoy a nice stretch to the back side of the legs. Now release your foot down. With both knees bent, take your feet as wide apart as the mat is. Draw your knees over toward the right side. Lift your knees up. Take your knees over toward the left side. Lift your knees up. Take your hands right at your kneecaps. Press your kneecaps so that you feel like you're trying to press the thigh bone down to the mat. Notice how you get a nice arch in the low back. Keep that engagement so you have a nice lumbar curve as you just release your arms and straighten your legs and close your eyes. Breathe in deep. Breathe out long. In a practice where we contract to expand, notice how the breath serves that theme. You draw in to expand out more fully with the breath. You draw the breath in and expand out even more fully. You draw in to expand out. Breathe in deep. Breathe out long. Breathe in deep. And breathe out long. Breathe in deep. Breathe out long. Breathe freely and naturally. And enjoy your Savasana. Namaste.